warm welcome to you all to this meeting of the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning of the Western Cape Provincial Parliament. Today is Thursday, the 30th of November, and it has just gone at 12 noon. This is a virtual meeting via MS Teams, but it is also being streamed on YouTube. And a warm welcome not only to our members, but also to guests and support staff. I will give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves just now. On the agenda today, we have the deliberation on Vote 11, Agriculture, in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill, B7 of 2023. As you all know, honourable members, we have received notice that the original budgets for this province had to be adjusted, particularly downwards, and this is now being dealt with in this adjustments appropriation round. Then also, after we've deliberated on the vote and we've given the department an opportunity to assist us in understanding the implications of the various environments and other changes, we will then be considering and hopefully adopt the draft committee report on Vote 11 in the schedule. And thereafter, there will also be an opportunity for resolutions before we will be closing this meeting. Honourable members, can I first hand over to you, just myself. I'm Hendrikus van der Westhuizen, privileged to be chairing this standing committee. And over to you, honourable members.
Good afternoon, Chair. Kayla Murray, member of the committee.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Derek America, member of the committee.
Good afternoon, everybody. Peter de Villiers.
Thank you very much. And I believe the Honourable Moran might be joining us soon. And that means that we are quorate and that we therefore can continue with our deliberations. With that, I would like to give over to, I don't know if the Minister has joined us already and whether he will be joining us. I do not see his name, but he may be joining on another staff members. There we see you, Honourable Mayor. Thank you very much for joining us and a warm welcome. And if you could just for the record state your name, and then we'll just have the department introduce themselves and then back to you for some introductory remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to the members of the committee and to my staff who are all online, as well as the Secretariat of the committee. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Ivan Meyer, Provincial Minister of Agriculture. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. And now a warm welcome also to Dr. Sebo Petsa and his team. Doctor, if you would be so kind to introduce yourself and then also direct the introduction of your members that are online with us today.
Chair, thank you very much, and apologies that I look this way today. My surgeon decided it was time that they fix my eye, so I'm recovering quite well at home. So thank you very much. Mukhale Sebo Petsa, Head of Agriculture. I'm going to ask that my team introduce themselves, starting with Program 1, and then the branch ARRS, and then Casidra as well. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, good morning. I'm Floris Huyshammer. I'm the Chief Financial Officer.
Good morning, Chair and members. Dirk Trotsky, I'm responsible for business planning and strategy in the department. Thanks.
Good morning, honourable members. Paul Rockman, Operational Support Services, Agriculture.
Good morning, Chair. Bongiso Matoti. Today, I'm actually on behalf of DDG, Dr. Troutman, who is actually on her way to Dubai to attend the COP meeting on climate change. Thank you so much.
Bizana.
Good morning, Debbie Zana. I'm the budget manager in Program 1. Thank you.
Chair, with your permission, if we can ask Casidra to introduce themselves.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members. Keith du Plessis, Chief Executive Officer, Casidra.
Good morning, I'm Freek van Zyl, CFO Casidra.
Good, thank you very much. I do note a number of other names. Are there still people that would like to introduce themselves?
Chair Lindy Govender is also joining us. You've met Lindy Govender. She is taking over from Floris when he retires end of this year. If Lindy can introduce herself, please.
Good morning. I'm Lindy Govender, as the HOD has introduced me. Thank you.
Good, thank you, and a warm welcome to you as well. This may be your first meeting of this nature with this committee, so a warm welcome. And then I do note that the Honourable Maran has been able to join.
Yes, thanks very much, Chair. Good afternoon again, and good afternoon to the MEC and officers present. Thanks.
Thank you, Honourable Maran. We appreciate you rushing to be able to join. And then I want to also recognize the support staff, Ms. Msumpela, Mrs. Niekerk, and then also from the ITC section, Ms. Candice Morris and others. Then, Minister, I believe there are also at least one staff member from your office. Would you like to perhaps just, or can I give him an opportunity to introduce himself?
Yes, Chair.
Mr. Johnson.
Good afternoon, everyone. Daniel Johnson, Media Liaison Officer in Minister Mayor's office.
Good, thank you. Warm welcome. And Mr. Johnson is wearing more than one hat when it comes to these meetings. He's also serving on the board of Casidra, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you very much, honourable members and guests. We really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be with us. And with that, we can start the deliberations on vote 11, agriculture. And for that, I would like the Minister just to make some introductory remarks. Over to you, Minister.
Thank you, Chair, and welcome to our new CFO. We are very delighted that she is joining us and particularly joining this committee. I also see former Premier, Mr. Peter Mare. Thank you for also joining us in this committee. Chair, the Minister of Finance has recently tabled the medium-term budget policy statement, and she also issued a fiscal risk statement. That is a very serious situation, and given what is currently happening with the wage bill, and the situation is quite dire in terms of the realities of the fiscal framework, both in terms of the budget deficit as well as the fiscal deficit, but largely driven by the wage bill, and therefore there are implications. And given the magnitude of the situation, there will be some implication for this budget. And I think I would like to just register that, but my department and the CFO will outline the various implications. With the quantum that we are seeing, we have also seen that we had 4 floods during this year. We have seen that in the first flood, we had an estimate of 1.4 billion. The second flood was in the region, I think, about 1 billion. But we have also asked for the national government for about 500 million rand. But that detail is all in the budget. There are 2 principles. One is the principle that we are heading for a fiscal cliff as a result of the wage bill. And secondly, the Minister of Finance tabled the bill that the budget as a budget for hope, and then she had a subtext. And the subtext is trying to protect the citizens of the Western Cape through this budget. And what we are doing here is also trying to protect our farmers in this particular context. But there will be some implications as my department will indicate in this budget adjustment. So, Chair, I'm not going to speak too much, and I would therefore like to hand over to Dr. Sebo Petsa, and I'm very happy that he's on this meeting as the accounting officer, and he is still recovering, Chair. He had an eye operation, and I'm very happy that he has recovered, and to the extent that he can attend this meeting. Chair, back to you. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you very much for those introductory remarks. And over to you, Dr. Sebo Petsa. We are indeed grateful that you are able to join us.
Hi.
Miss
Hi. Can you hear me now? Yes.
Can we just ask that you mute yourself, Honourable Murray?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Honourable Murray,
Yes. Okay, great.
please
Yes.
mute yourself.
Sorry, I have no cell phone reception in my office. I have to use WhatsApp.
Sorry, I've muted the Honourable Murray. Sorry for that, Dr. Sebo Petsa. Can we hand back to you?
Very much. We have prepared about 11 slides summarizing what Minister had just alluded to. And I'm going to ask the CFO to share the presentation. But in the main, I think the challenge is the massive cuts on the conditional grants will have a huge implication on the work that we do to support particularly new farmers in the province, but also grateful in the sense that the strategy that the province had adopted since 2008 and 9 of working with the private sector to support agriculture is coming in quite handy to ensure that we are able to, in this year, still deliver what we had committed to deliver in terms of our annual performance plan. So about 11 slides that I'm going to ask the CFO to take us through, and then we are ready then to respond to whatever questions, Chairperson, you and the committee may have to pose. Thank you very much. Over to the CFO.
Thank you, Mr. Huyshammer. Please proceed. You may be muted. Thank you. We do see your, well, we did see your screen. It disappeared, Mr. Huyshammer.
Chair, sorry, I had to make it disappear to put on my mic again. Just give me half a minute and forgive me for this.
Yeah, no problem. You're unmuted now. We could hear you well. Mr. Huyshammer, I know the picture is dark, but what you've just shown us is really worse than what I expected.
Chair, I'm really sorry. I'm now just in a bit of a fix to try and find. I just had it, and now it seems to me I can't have it with my voice. Let me just get it.
We do see your screen now, sir.
Yes, but I think you see the wrong screen.
Correct.
Chair, let me just get some technical support here quickly.
We see the right screen. I think you show the wrong screen.
Can you see now?
Still not. Still not. We see your emails. They all seem legitimate.
Chair, just give me half a minute that I can just get our technical people here quickly to help me put this on again, and then I will hopefully be able to go ahead.
Problem. No problem. You can step out for a minute, and in the meantime, we'll give the Honourable Murray an opportunity to introduce himself.
Good morning, Speaker and Minister and all luminaries and members. I am here. I apologize for being, I think, 2 minutes late, but I'm here now.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Minister and Mr. Murray. Can I just say, obviously, we are going to deliberate on vote 11, which you will find in what is generally known as the Blue Book, or the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill. And we will be dealing with pages 245 to 279. And then, as I've said, there will be an opportunity for questions once we have been briefed by the CFO of the department on the environments and other changes, transfers that have been brought about due to a number of factors, including then, as we've heard from the Minister, what is, I think, very softly known as fiscal consolidation, which I think is really an underplay of the real fiscal situation that we find ourselves in. Mr. Huyshamer, we do see your screen, and I take it that you are now ready to proceed with your presentation.
Chair, yes. Can you hear me as well?
We can hear you as well.
Excellent, excellent. So then
that Dr. Trotsky is also unmuted. I don't know if you want to say something, but perhaps he may just be careful with background noise in his environment. Over to you, Mr. Huyshamer.
Thank you, Chair, and once again, my apologies for this. The contents you will see, we always show the ministerial priorities as well, and then I've tried to make it, let's call it, something that we can follow the line in terms of first talk to additional funding, and then the cuts effected, then the reprioritization and realignment, environments that we had to do and shifts. And then just one slide on the changes per program, and then you can see where programs started to where they ended. The ministerial priorities, I'm not sure whether the minister want to talk to it, but I think it's known by now. It's structured education and training and research, climate change, rural safety, market access, and farmer support. Chair, and then we start with the additional funding. As you can see, I've given some numbers there and per program. And on the first program one, I just wanted to highlight that at 3.744 million rand, we had to we got from rollovers. With that, we did buy French oak wine barrels. That is for training, Chair. It is not for program one, but the seller is falling under program one at the moment, so it is not for us drinking, but it is for the training side of it, because the oak wine barrels you can only use 2 or 3 times, and then you have to replace them with new. We also buy the computer and office equipment. With program 2, we got some 943,000 rand, which we use mostly for river protection and for alien clearing. Program 3, 3.683 million. It is the mapping we're talking about. We had to fly over again this year after, if I remember correctly, 3 years, and we just had to get some money together to also pay that account. Program 4, 1.531 million. The veterinary lab is closed and was closed for the best part of this financial year due to maintenance that is done, and therefore we had to get our diagnostic tests done elsewhere, and for that obviously we have to pay, other than having our own equipment and doing it ourselves. 278,000 rand for farm equipment and computer equipment, program 5. Program 6, for computer equipment, 423,000 rand, and agricultural operating services, and 970,000 rand, which was mostly towards the procurement of services to conduct training at the college. Chair, so then we are continuing, and then we have some revenue retention. The first was rollovers, and the rest is revenue retention as at this year of 6.940 million. 2 million rand of that we're going to use to refurbish the new export control office, which moved from Milnerton to Ruland Street in Cape Town. 1.5 million for program 5 to produce feed and fodder for the departmental herds and flocks, and 3.440 million for program 7 to provide student meals, etc. We also were fortunate enough to get some unforeseeable and unavoidable expenditure from the Treasury reserve. of 5.013 million, which we will add to another 14.897 to push 20 million rand already this year towards the floods that the chair and the minister were alerting to earlier. Cuts affected, conditional grants specifically, Chair. There we had the biggest cut was in CASP funding. It was 9.450 million, program 3, where we settle farmers. It was 8.450 million, and program 7, which is the college. Also, they had 8, which is now becoming a 7 million. 1 million from Ilima Letsima, also in program 3, 380,000 rand from land care, they were cut, and 235,000 rand from expanded public works program. Chair, so those were cuts that were not, well, we heard of him, but we just had to accommodate them. Chair, then we did our own reprioritization and realignment within the province and within the department. We reprioritized 47.806 million, and thereof the department realigned 18.5 million, which will be carried forward to the next financial year. That is for river protection works. In other words, we cut it this year. And then reprioritizations towards the improvement of conditions of service. It's 29.306 million, Chair. So this is where the funding will be going to. It goes to program 1 for 5.801 million, program 2, 2.531, 3, 4.914, program 4, 5.320, etc., down to program 8 for 835,000 rand. And that is the 29.306 that was then realigned to stand in for our increases, which we did not get, as most of the other departments did not get any reprieve from up north. Thank you, Chair. Reprioritization continued. This is where the funding came from. The 47.806, program 1 gave 9.821, program 2 gave 7.395. That is the net value, but they actually gave the 3.882 and 18.5 million, which I referred to a bit earlier, and then to complete that 5.013 million, to complete the 20 million that we will have to give for the flood, which also there, that's why the net amount is 7.395, consisting of those three. Program 3 had to give 4.194, program 4, 8.142, program 5, 8.335, program 6, 5.520. Program 6, you will see it's not in brackets because we had to, not program 6, program 7, we had to help them because program 7 was really in dire straits with another 436 million. And we took also 835,000 rand from program 8. Chair, then the environment and shifts. Environments is what happened between programs. Shifts are what happens within programs. Now, there are quite a few, I think it's 204 of them, shifts. We would just try to give you the mainstream what happened where. And but the detail is in the blue book, which we were fortunate enough to get this morning. It's so the environments were only between programs 3 and 7, and that was the move of CASP funding from program 3 to program 7 for training, which program 7 will do for program 3. And 5.004 million from program 6 to program 1, and that is for the viticulture and cellar that was moved to business planning and strategy. That's the unit of Dr. Trotsky. 300,000 rand from program 7 to program 5 for animal fodder, as program 7 is using program 5 animals to do training on the practical part of it. Various shifts within the main divisions within program 1, 13.895, and you will see everywhere it's a relief of operational budget pressures purely because we have cut and we had to make it work now and see where we could take away and where we had to add. So program 2, 14.865 million. Program 3, it's the CASP COE replaces equitable share COE. Program 4 is a relief of operational budget pressures, as is program 5 and program 6. And program 7, it's also CASP capital asset replacing goods and services. That is specifically for 5.89 million. Chair, then program 8 is 1.198 million. It's a relief of operational budget pressures as well. Chair, and I'm at my last slide. This one we can see what the impact was per program. Administration started off with a main budget of 145 million. 0.663, it ended up with 150.391. That was specifically because of the move of the cellar and the viticulture unit, which would have been taken away from program 6, agricultural economic services. Sustainable resource use and management, that is where the 18.5 million was taken away, and the ins and outs of funding that we also did get with rollovers, etc. So they from 134 to 135, they had a slight increase. APSD, Agricultural Producer Support and Development, quite a big decrease because of the specifically because of the grants that were taken away there, CASP and Elima, that was 9.4 only on those. Veterinary services started with 108 million. They ended up with 109. We had to cut them, but we also had to find money to specifically for the Cape Town office, as well as for the vet labs opening, because it needs to be rewired for network. Technology, research and development, they also got a bit of money for fodder and diesel. Agricultural economic services, they took quite a bit of a cut, as you can see, and so did agricultural education and training and rural development. Chair, we moved from 960.165 million to 954.125, but within the process, we actually also could, as I say, specifically get 20 million rand together to so long while we hopefully will get some response on our 500 mil a claim that we can start with some work already with the floods. Chair, from my side, that is it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Huyshamer. Any other items that you would like to highlight, Dr. Sebupetsa, or any of the other staff at this point before we go to our question and answer session? None. So thank you very much, honourable members. It's then over to you. I recognize Honourable America.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good afternoon once again. Chairperson, Mr. Huyshamer mentioned or presented to us, and thank you for the presentation, the enormous implication of the cost of employment increases, and he mentioned that unfortunately there was no assistance from North. So I would like to know whether any assistance from South was provided. Did the department get any assistance from Provincial Treasury in assisting the department in absorbing this increase in salary costs? So on to questions, Chairperson. Chairperson, the second question I'd like to ask is on page 254. And that's program 2, land care. There's a 10.5 million rand that was budgeted for contractors casual labours and maintenance and repairs. Now that 10.5 million rand was then moved, it shifted to other priorities. Can we be provided with more sort of context into the reason why that 10.5 million rand was shifted and what implication it would have for the maintenance and repairs for which it was intended, and also those contractors and labourers. And then, Chairperson, also on page 251, sub-program on the left, right column, sub-program 3.2, extension of and advisory services. Now, there we have compensation of employees. Now, maybe, Mr. Einstein, I could just, indicate to me whether these figures that I'm going to mention here now are sort of included in the 29 million rand that he presented in his presentation. So right at the bottom of the page, Chairperson, said budget for compensation of employees.
We lost you. Seems to me as if we've lost Honourable America.
Seems so, sir. Could I ask my questions, then, sir?
Honourable Maran, if I can ask you if you would take over, you were the second hand raised, and then Honourable Marais. Again, if I could ask you if we could limit ourselves to 3 questions per round.
Thanks, Chair. I got 3 questions, Chair. The first one is on page. Let me just get to it. It's in page 250, Chair. The relocation of funds within the salary wages. Chair, we know that salaries and wages have been reallocated for the use of allowances for acting positions, Chair. And I'm not sure for how long these persons that are acting in those positions, Chair. And if it is, Chair, this acting was already in place at the beginning of this financial year. Why has there not been budgeted for Chair for yes, useful now. Hello. Yeah, you speaking to me?
Please proceed, Honourable Maran.
Yeah, Chair, no, I just wanted to know if the acting was already in place at the beginning of the financial year, why there was no budget for the allowances for this acting position. That's the one, Chair. Then the other one, Chair, is on 251, provision made for the cost of construction of a new fencing, Chair. In allocating these funds for the construction of new fencing, what are the reasons, Chair, for moving funds for putting up new fences? And then, Chair, the last one is on page 257, extension or advisory services. Chair, just want to check with the department the justification for the reallocation of budget for operational expenditure and what specific goals, Chair, are driving these shifts. Thanks.
Thank you. And then over to the Honourable Murray.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think we're starting at the wrong, we started off wrong. First of all, let's put blame where blame should be. And we know that the Premier has declared a dispute, intergovernmental dispute with National, for leaving us with a hell of a bill of 1.6 billion in the provinces. They expect to now make good on it. That's where we should start, not nitpicking on where money came from, where it was shifted. This is an emergency. We find ourselves in an emergency brought about by the national government, who conclude agreements with the unions and then renege on these agreements and expect us as province to pick up the tab. This is the problem. I just want to say thank you to the department and the minister for having to do shifts, veriments, and all those things in order to keep this boat afloat. We cannot now ask why the boat inside is wet and why is the cabin of the captain wet. We almost sunk because the ANC has put us in this position. And this boat is kept afloat by a well-structured government and a minister that know what he's doing. So all I can say from my side, from the Freedom Front Plus side, just keep this boat afloat. It's not your fault if you had to shift priorities. I just want to know if you are satisfied. The minister can tell us, and the CFO can tell us, if they are satisfied, this is the best shifts they could make to keep the boat in the Western Cape afloat. For the rest, I'm happy and I'm satisfied, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Murray. From my side, just two questions. The first one is about the 20 million rand for flood damage. Perhaps if you could just indicate what would be your priorities should that money be approved and become available. And then the second one is just, we have been concerned in the past about the decrease in the amount of money available for CASP. These veriments and shifts, how would they affect the CASP program and the services that I do know a number of recipients highly value and have highly valued up to now. And with that, first over to you, Dr. Sebupetsa, and your team, and then the members will hopefully be able to get another round of questions. Over to you, Doctor.
Chair, thank you very much. I'm going to ask that my CFO respond to the questions that were raised by Honorable Member America. And I will immediately respond to the one raised by Member Maran in terms of acting allowances. According to the provincial policy, for acting positions, it's people can only act and be paid allowances for no more than 12 months. But given what we all know in our country and the circular that had come through sometime in October about issues around employment of staff and so on, that is throwing all of us in a way that a lot of officials are now acting without any form of an allowance or anything of that sense. The reality of the matter is what we are faced with is a very complicated situation. The one strategy we've adopted now, at least in the current year, is to delay appointments to the extent that we're able to do so. but the risk on the horizon is that we may not be able to provide services to farmers that we are required by law to provide going into the future. The close to 30 million rands that the CFO referred to in terms of salary increases, there was no support up north, and of course, also in the province, departments are required to absorb that within their own baselines. And that is what complicates the situation we find ourselves in. In fact, yesterday, I had a very tough discussion with my program managers around this whole issue of budgets and personnel and the fact that we need to balance that with the services and commitments that this government has made to the citizens. So it's a complicated kind of situation, but I'm happy to say in the next while, for up to the 31st of March, we have embarked on a process to do whatever we can to ensure that the impact is as little as possible in terms of the service delivery for the citizens in the Western Cape. What we cannot guarantee is going forward what's going to happen in the new financial year, because in agriculture, the same way as it is in education and health, extension officers for me are service delivery. In education, you need teachers to teach learners. In my situation, you need extension officers, you need the vets, you need engineers to provide services to the citizens. The rest of the other questions in terms of page 251 and 257, in terms of those shifts, my CFO will respond to that. Thank you very much, Member Mare, in terms of your observation. Indeed, it's a balancing act that we have had to embark upon to ensure that we continue to provide hope for the citizens of the Western Cape. It's quite a difficult space we're finding ourselves in, to the extent that the risk that one foresee in the future is that if you keep pushing the limited number of people to do extra work, because we cannot appoint new people, the question is, what does that do to their well-being? What does it do to their wellness as people? Because in the end, we keep pushing them and we are not able to bring additional resources to support them. So it's a balancing act, and up to now, we've done all we can to ensure that this ship continues to sail and it will not sink, because for us, the people of the Western Cape come first. We'll do everything we need to do to ensure they are supported within agriculture. Chairperson, your question around the CASP declining, it is a worrisome trend and has been coming on for some time. As we sit here, I don't know what my allocation would look like for next year, but experience has taught me that each time there are financial challenges, the easiest place where national government tend to cut budget is on the conditional grants. I foresee that there may be deeper cuts going into the new year, particularly for CASP and Elima. The 10 million cut this year already means that some farmers will not be able to receive the support that was promised to them. But of course, we will have to, again, engage our industry where possible and get the support where possible to ensure that those farmers are not left outside, but are continuously supported to run their businesses. You've asked a question, Chairperson, around what the priorities would be. I am not sure if Darrell is in the room yet because he was in a meeting earlier today, but this is something that I will be discussing with the team next week when I get back to the office to look as to what are those areas that we need to prioritize with the 20 million, which is actually a drop in the ocean, looking at the massive damages, but also the massive claim that we've submitted to national government. I thought let me respond to those and leave all technical financial issues to my CFO to respond to. Chair, with your indulgence, I want to then ask the CFO to respond.
Thank you. Please proceed, Mr. Huyshamer.
Chair, thank you. Starting with Mr. America, the cost of employment increases. He asked whether the South, in other words, Provincial Treasury on our side helped. Yes, if you look at the reprioritization to slides, you will see the one they taketh and the other one they gave back. So we were supposed to have a cut now of for the department of around about 33 million. In the end, you will see it only worked out to be 6.04 million. And a big part of that is because we could work that kind of out. What was taken was also kind of given back. So yes, the South definitely did come to the party on this one. Page 251, the 10.5 million from contractors. That was just also then paid over to program 2 uses water boards, to do a lot of their alien clearing at the moment, and there is just some administrative fees that also need to be done. So it was initially thought that we could get contractors, but quite often we can't. Specifically in areas where we are, so and then we do the transfer to the water boards in whose mandate it is also to clear to do alien clearing. Chair, I did not catch his other question. I don't know whether Mr. America is in yet. I would like just to hear that again, but in the meantime, I'll try to go to Mr. Maran first. Acting chair, that was 58,000 rand, the one that I see we're talking about, and now that is the kind of money that's usually acting after 6 months. So I do not have specific detail, but on this one it was not a long acting. Therefore, I do believe it was not one of those that could have been foreseen. It was acting for, say, a period of 3 months or something, where your first 6 weeks you don't get acting anyway. New fences, why? Well, the EPWP we do get is specifically for fencing, and that's not fencing of any of the department's properties. It is actually fencing we do for producers that we contribute to them. So 791, it is part of about 2.4 million. I also remember that we had to cut that by 235,000 rand, but that is what the fencing was for. Mr. Marie, okay, thank you. We did get that, and you asked, did we make the best shifts? Chair, yes. To our mind, we really apply our mind, and we sit through weekends on this one when we get the numbers to do the shifts. And Mazana and her team, I think, did excellent work there. So yes, we have quite a capable team there, and I think they did a very capable job. Chair, and then just one last thing, and that is Mr. Maran had one more question. It started with why, but I could not pick up his. So if you will permit me just to ask him whether he can repeat his last question, I would really appreciate it. Thanks, Chair.
Good, thank you very much. Can we then go back to the Honourable America, whose internet connection was cut off? But I trust that he knows where, he lost connectivity. Honourable America, there's also been a request that some members clarify their questions. So shall we take it in the same order then? Honourable America first.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you for your sort of support in terms of the difficulty I had. Chairperson, on the rare occasion, I fully agree with Honourable Murray that his input has certainly diluted what I was going to say. Nonetheless, my question where I was cut off was basically in terms of the 7.4 million rand that was budgeted for compensation of employees for the extension of officials maintained under the ERP. So there are multiple entries for that. It's under advisory services. It also producer support, and then also an extension of advisory services in subprogram 3.2. So I wanted to know whether those the advisory services provided, is it separate sets of employees that provide that particular service for food support as well as other advisory services? So it's just that I'm not so very clear on that. And then, Chairperson, I want to know whether, there was significant realignment in Casidra. It's not very clearly set out if Casidra also were faced with these budgetary cuts and how it impacted upon them in terms of delivering on their mandate. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honourable Maran, you were second last with the last round. Would you like to pose another question?
Let's leave the previous one. One last question, Chair. The cuts of 9.4 million rand when it comes to CAS. Chair, I just wanted to check with the MEC. Remember last time in 2019, and I've raised it before when we came in, the Premier said that they're not going to wait for national government in terms of funding for specific projects. And then that particular time, 20 million were made available for the construction of the Holsloot near Brandfly Dam. Now, we know, Chair, that in the Western Cape, agriculture at this point in time creates the most job opportunities, Chair. Also responsible for almost 54% of exports. Now, if it is that we are saying we're not going to wait for national government, was there possibility for this provincial government to cushion this particular cut by making funds available from the revenue fund, or what do you call that fund? Chair, was there a possibility to cushion that fall, Chair? And if not, why not? Thanks.
Thank you. The Honourable Marais is next.
Thank you so much, Chair. Chair, I'm not somebody who look at individual little issues. I look at the total picture. So my question will be the total picture where we're going, because I know if you budget, you must give and take, and your priorities will come through if you do that. Now, how did budget cuts, I want to know, according to the department, how did budget cuts negatively affect the training and empowerment of emerging farmers? And how did budget cuts then cause the department not to be able to address the whole issue of water scarcity in rural areas? Did they have to cancel any projects or expenditure in those two departments, empowerment of emerging farmers, acquisition of land, and also addressing water shortage problems? Can they perhaps tell me to what extent it was negatively affected?
Thank you very much, Honourable Marais. I do not note any further hands, so over to you, Dr. Sebupetsa. If you could direct the questions. I do note that there was one question directed also at Minister Meyer, coming from, I believe, the Honourable Maran. But perhaps if you would first like to go, Dr. Sebupetsa.
Chair, thank you very much. I'm going to ask my CFO to respond to to the question around Casidra in terms of to what extent were they affected in this budget. That's number one. The other question from Member Maran, I think that is a question that my minister will obviously respond to. But suffice to say that given the way we work in the Western Cape and the fact that we have initiated a lot of blended financing platforms like the HOTFIN, which is within the deciduous fruit sector. Farmers are still able to access some support in those platforms. But I think Minister will then respond to the rest of the issues that were raised. Member Mare, your question around training and empowerment of farmers. Fortunately, that will not be affected because over and above us, depending on the conditional grant, we also have the Elsenburg College, the oldest college on the African continent. And therein we've got lecturers that also visit communities to provide training and support to farmers, supported by our commodity partners. Your direct question around the water scarcity and to what extent these cuts will affect that. I wish I had the details now, but the team is really working on which projects would be affected this year, by way of saying if the approval was to build 3 poultry houses, given the cuts, it may mean that we only build 1 for this year, and that we build the other 2 next year going forward. So that is the approach. It is not an approach that says you had been promised 5 houses and then you get nothing. So it's about staggering and facing some of these interventions so that those businesses are not pushed out of business completely. So that is really what we are doing, but we don't make those decisions alone. We work together with our farmers to then determine, given the financial pressures now, what is it that we can do without? And then we push those to the outer years. And where possible, we then engage our colleagues in the private sector, the commodity formations, the blended financing institutions, and begin to say to what extent can you then leverage additional resources to support those. So this is work that is going on between ourselves, the industry, but more importantly, the farmers who are the business owners in this respect. Flores, if you can respond to specifically the Casidra issue, and I think then would have covered all the questions that have been raised. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Isanga.
Chair, thank you. Okay, Casidra, Chair, quite frankly, there's nothing there that we can cut anymore. That is one of the institution we even had to delay in this year, even before the cuts, salary increases, which would have just been caught up with hours that we already got in 1st April. We could only pay out now. So there was nothing to cut really, and we are actually looking at how we can better fit them because they are actually doing good work. Chair, and then the 7.4 million ERP funding now, that is a bit of a technical one. That was also from Mr. America. ERP in projects, ERP is also cost funding, but in projects we cannot budget on COE. That is a technical BAS argument. So every time we actually have to do it the other way around, and then we have to write a journal to get it to the project again. So that is what we, these are the kind of shifts that we actually do annually up and until we get that technicality out of the way. But at this moment, that is the reason for that shift in totality. Chair, I hope I made that one clear because that is a bit of a frustration for us, has been for quite a while. Thank you, Chair.
Good, thank you very much. Honourable members, are there any further questions? Can I also ask whether the Minister is online and whether he would like to respond? Not at the moment. I didn't get any indication of members of the public that would like to pose questions. Ms. Nika, can you just confirm that there are no members of the public that approached you?
I confirm as such, Chairperson, we have received no prior indication from any member of the public. Thank you.
Good, thank you very much. And then over to you, Minister, and you can also use this for concluding remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and to the members of the committee, and thank you to my staff and particularly the CFO and the team for responding to the questions, but also thank you to the members. I have listened very carefully as a former Minister of Finance. And I think Honourable Member Peter Maree raised the issue. He said, let us not look at incremental stuff, let us look at the big picture. So what are the big pictures affecting this Vote 11 Western Cape Adjustment Appropriation Bill 2023? I think there are four big issues. The one is the fiscal crisis, and I will outline that. Secondly is the issue of the wage bill, but also linking to the wage bill is the whole debt levels in South Africa. The third issue that affects the budget and the stuff that was presented here, and you've heard my HOD speaking about the conditional grants, and he indicated that the conditional grants cuts in the new year might even be much worse. And also we have put in a claim to the National Treasury for about 500 million rand for the flood damages. And you will see that in terms of the Provincial Treasury has made 40 million rand available for flood relief for 2024. So those are the sort of big issues. If I may now respond to some of the issues from the various members, I think all of you will know that in terms of the wage bill, which left us with a huge fiscal deficit, and the Western Cape government is now trying, in fact, we have approved it in the cabinet, and the committee should be aware in terms of the budget meeting that was held 2 days ago, that about 78% of the wage bill will be covered through the Department of Education and Department of Health, and no other departments will get anything in terms of the wage bill. So I think we know from agriculture needs three things. It needs soil, it needs water, and it needs climate. And it is important that the question relating to land care, we need to care for the soil, we need to care for the water, and we need to care for the climate. And that's why Dr. Ilse Trautmann is right now in Dubai at COP28 dealing with the issues of the environment. Mr. Maree is absolutely right. We are lodging a intergovernmental dispute because we have a 1.1 billion shortfall. And I think the National Minister of Finance during his tabling of his medium-term budget policy statement did refer to what he called a fiscal emergency. And I think that for me is the essence of the matter, why we have these particular cuts. There are four things that you will always hear finance people speak about. One is fiscal emergency. That's the term the National Minister used, Minister of Finance, indicating to his cabinet colleagues in the National Assembly and the business community of the situation and the severity of the financial crisis in South Africa. Indeed, there's multiple reasons for that. We don't have time to go into that. But the second term that people use is fiscal cliff. This is where you are no longer able to pay for the salaries in particular or goods and services, where you basically run out of money. We are very close to that, and that's why this situation is now before this committee. The third matter that is often used by finance people, and particularly people dealing with public finance and budgeting, is what is called, and it has been used in this meeting right now, it's called fiscal consolidation. Now, fiscal consolidation, as we know, refers to the reduction of expenditure and an increase in your revenue, also known as domestic resource mobilization. Now, when our Minister of Finance tabled it in the medium-term budget policy statements, he spoke about the lower levels of tax collection, which the national minister has meant, and also the reduced levels of revenue as a result of particularly load shedding. The fourth issue that is dealt with in the adjustment appropriation conversation is what we should actually be able to talk about is what we call fiscal decentralization, meaning that the national government, the opposite of fiscal decentralization is fiscal centralization, meaning if you fiscally negotiate a wage agreement that's unaffordable, unsustainable like the national government, you cannot drop a nuclear bomb on the 9 provinces. And we know that about 9% of the DORA goes to municipalities. So fiscal centralization means if you centrally bargained for things that you cannot afford, the bill must be dropped on your desk, not now suddenly implement fiscal decentralization on the expenditure side. And we think it is unfair. Now, you will have heard the Minister of Finance here in the Western Cape, Minister Wegner, did refer to pay as you earn budget. And that is, she said, we cannot even budget for 1 year, for 2 years, or 3 years in terms of the medium statement. Now, this is no longer a fiscal emergency, as the national minister indicated. I think it's a fiscal crisis, and I think we all have a moral responsibility to understand the severity of the crisis. Because when you in a fiscal emergency, like he has called it, I don't think it is good financial practice to borrow for current expenditure. And our government is currently borrowing money for current expenditure. You grow your economy by borrowing money through investment in infrastructure, create jobs, creating revenue, and increase your tax base. This is exactly the opposite. So I want to say that we are heading for a fiscal cliff, and what the Western Cape government and the Western Cape cabinet, but also the Minister of Finance, and particularly the Budget Policy Committee has done is really outstanding, and I want to put on record my thanks and appreciation to the Minister of Finance in the Western Cape, the Premier and the Cabinet, and also the Provincial Treasury for doing almost impossible task in terms of fiscal consolidation. And I want to put my thanks and appreciation to Dr. Mogale, Sebopetse, and our CFO, as well as all our program managers, because fiscal consolidation was almost an impossible task given the scale and the scope of this problem. But Dr. Mogale summed it up perfectly. He said the people of the Western Cape comes first. And that is proof of the commitment of these officials to present a budget of hope, despite these shortcomings, but also to protect the citizens. Now, Honourable Member Maran is asked about what have we done in terms of protecting the citizens. Well, over 3 years, this is a 6.7 billion rand shortfall. So what we have done is to figure out how can we protect the citizens. So the first thing we did, we asked, should the fiscal approach be here in the Western Cape? So we had 2 things, members of the committee. The first one was to absorb the impact of the baseline reductions on the various budget votes, including the budget vote 11 that we discuss here, but also, secondly, driving the policy priorities through implementation of safety, of well-being and dignity. And you will see in next year's main budget, you will see specifically allocations also being made to protect food security. So if those are the fiscal approach to the crisis that we have, the question is, what are the budget principles that drive this adjustment budget? There are 4. Number 1, protect basic services. 2, unlock what the minister calls allocative efficiency. And thirdly, to enhance productive efficiency, and also very importantly for the long term, to enable a long-term fiscal sustainability. So the province, to answer Honourable Member Maran, what have we done in terms of the provincial reserves? Over a period of time, you will know that there was COVID-19. We dug into our reserves to deal with the issue of COVID-19. Then came the load shedding and Eskom crisis. We did dug into our provincial reserves in terms of the energy, and you've seen that the Premier has now handed over the first energy packs. The third one is the wage bill, and we have done everything possible to protect this. So the Minister of Finance has also, because of the severity of this crisis, tabled during the medium-term budget policy statement, she also tabled a fiscal risk statement to demonstrate the seriousness of the situation. And I think honourable members of this committee will know that 95% of the Western Cape revenue comes from the National Treasury. So when the National Minister of Finance calls it a fiscal emergency, then you understand the serious impact it has. But we were able, through the Cabinet, through the Budget Policy Committee, through hard work and technical and data analysis, to put a budget together that will provide hope in an extreme difficult fiscal situation. And we will try our best. And the Honourable the HOD, Dr. Mogale Sebopetse, has given the clue, the direction to this committee, namely that we will also now liaise with the commodity organizations to pull us through this difficult period, as they have done during COVID-19. Chair, I've given an extensive overview of what is behind this, given the question of Honourable Member Maran and the question and the statement made by Honourable Member Peter Mare. I want to thank the committee for the work, and I want to thank the Secretariat of your Standing Committee and also your own leadership, and thank my HOD, my Program Manager, my CFO for this opportunity. Thank you, Chair. Back to you.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Minister. And thank you very much, Dr. Sebopetse, Mr. Huyshammer, and the other officials for joining us today, for the information that you've shared with us. I know that, I've got a saying, work is not done during meetings, work is done in between meetings. And Mr. Huyshammer referred to the weekends that they had to spend in being able to find the right priorities to ensure, as I think one of the members said, that the good work is not jeopardized by the fact that we do need to save on our budgets, etc. So thank you very much for your diligence, for your dedication, to you, Minister, for you and your HOD, for the leadership that you've also shown. It's easy to lead when the budgets are growing and when everything is going according to plan. But when you have these kind of double whammies of budget cuts, floods, more and more expectations, increasing expectations for support services, when you have the problem of the national government not always being able to attend to things such as locust outbreaks and droughts and many of these challenges. We think of all the diseases, particularly amongst animals, and the fact that in the past, we could rely on honest support and so on to really come up with effective measures and vaccines and so on. Then we've got great admiration and respect for the task that you have. Honourable members, we previously already, when we were in person, were able to wish Mr. Huyshammer well for his future and his retirement. That was the very last time when we saw him in person in the chamber. But now I think we can also say to him, thank you very much again for a wonderful career, for leading a very difficult department when we look at other provinces, challenging in terms of achieving a clean audit, as many of the procurement needed related to things like experimental farms and so on are quite often needs driven, and it requires very quick procurement processes, etc. Mr. Huyshammer, we wish you well, you and your family. Mr. Huyshammer, Minister, did indicate, so you can spread the word if there are any other departments that might need his expertise, that he would be available. to assist. Apparently, he's not looking well. He's concerned that if he should sit at home all day, that he might be up to some mischief or something like that. So, Mr. Huyshammer, thank you very much. We really appreciate. And to the new CFO, Ms. Governor, you have to step into big boots. We wish you well. I also want to congratulate the department on what seems to me like the ideal handover process. It's not often that departments are able to plan and have a handover process whereby the incumbent and the successor are able to work shoulder to shoulder. And this only, I believe, spells, good for the future and sets an excellent example also to other departments when they need to, do succession planning for critical positions. So thank you very much. Minister, you and the staff are welcome to remain on, but we will now go over to a debate on whether we support the vote or not, and then deal with the report following on that. So you are welcome. From my side, I also wish each and every one of you that are now going to exit a wonderful festive season. For those that are privileged to do take some rest and spend some time with your family, may you have a blessed festive season. May you come back next year with new energy, being invigorated. May you have the time to also relax and perhaps do something which would take your mind off the work and all the pressures that you will have to face in the new year. I think what the minister has actually said is that even the longer term outlook is unfortunately one that's going to be challenging. So we need everybody to be fresh and with renewed energy when we deal with the main budget for the next financial year. So from my side, thank you very much. You are welcome to exit, and members, please, we will go straight into the consideration of the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Good, honourable members. Thank you very much. We have the vote in front of us. We've deliberated. We've had the department's responses to our questions. There will be an opportunity also for resolutions, but I therefore now ask the honourable members to express themselves on the vote, whether they would like to support the vote or whether they believe otherwise. And the first hand that I do recognise is that of the Honourable Maran.
Thanks, Chairperson. You said I'm predictable.
Consistent.
Consistent, Chair. But before I get to my view, Chair, is that the MEC never answered my question. My question was specific in terms of the 9.54 million rand cut when it comes to CASP. And I have to give explanations what the Premier said. What have they done to mitigate the cuts? And what have they done, Chair, to assist farmers through the provincial reserves? Because all these farmers are getting support through CASP are black. And the MEC choose to divert from answering these direct questions to go to the people of the Western Cape. That was not my question. Chair, my view, Chair, is not to support this particular vote, Chair, and that if my vote becomes my view becomes a minority view, to be captured in the committee report as per Rule 90 of the rules. Thanks. Standing rules. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Maran. Noted. The next in line is the Honourable America.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I express myself that we support the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. One against, one for. The next one is the Honourable Murray.
Chair, without a doubt, I support this bill. We must take into account that the ministers and his department, they had to try, and the minister explained it very carefully. They say that the country is facing a fiscal cliff. In other words, the government is running out of money. They can't pay their debts. And it has been proven, by the way, they couldn't even keep their promise for wage increases to the unions. So now we sit with a chat with a crisis, and what we have before us is an excellent management of a crisis, where we have, through fiscal consolidation, we have, in spite of this major knock we took in terms of a budget cut, still managed to present here to us a budget. They had to twitch here, twitch there, cut here. What is 9 million that the Honourable Marang talked about in the face of 1.6 or 7 billion, which we lost, that they lost and didn't give the provinces? 9 million is the cause of ANC bungling. If they gave the money, we might have even doubled up the amount of 9 million for the causes he mentioned. The money is not there. We are busy with a rescue operation. So from the side of the Freedom Front, we support this bill.
Thank you so much, Honourable Murray. Thank you very much. So it seems to me, with my own vote as well, we've got 3 votes for and one vote against. I don't know if the Honourable Murray is also anxious to express her view.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm happy to express my view to support the budget. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you, honourable members. This vote is then supported, and I trust that the report will indicate as such as well. Ms. Niekerk, would you be able to flight the draft report? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm just going to read into the record. Report of the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning on Vote 11, Agriculture, in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill, B7 of 2023, dated the 30th of November 2023 as follows. The Standing Committee on Agriculture, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning, having deliberated on the subject of Vote 11, Agriculture, in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill, B7 of 2023, referred to it in accordance with Standing Rule 188, reports that it supports the vote. In accordance with Standing Rule 90, the African National Congress expressed its minority view that it does not support the vote. Honourable members, now that you have been able to see and hear the contents of the report, can we get a view on whether you support that as an accurate reflection on the vote that we've just taken? Honourable America, and then Honourable Murray, and then Maran.
Chairperson, I move that we adopt the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Honourable Murray.
Thank you, Chair. A second.
And Honourable Maran.
Chair, yeah, I also support the committee report. It's a true reflection of what transpired in the meeting in terms of vote, Chair. But Chair, also to note, because the Honourable Murray mentioned my name, is that actually what the Honourable Murray said is he don't care how many black farmers lose business with the budget cuts, because he asked what is 9 million rand.
Thank you.
We have seen during COVID with how many black farmers have lost their support. So basically what the Honourable Murray said, because that million rand was specifically for black farmers, no other farmers, black farmers.
Thank you.
He don't care whether those farmers lose their businesses at the end of the day. I just think that we have to make that. We could find 1 billion rand for the previous police force, but we can't find 9 million rand for black farmers.
Thank you.
Because the ANC got it in their back pockets.
Honourable members, you're off topic. The question was whether you support the report, yes or no. And from what I could get, there was unanimous support. that this report is a true reflection of the vote, and therefore this report is then adopted. Thank you very much. Now, honourable members, you are welcome if you would like to propose some resolutions for this committee. And may I just ask that we look at possible action steps for this committee, that we do not, in terms of general rules, attack one another when that is not the question. If you want to discuss another member, please bring a motion to the House. Are there any resolutions emanating from the discussion today or other issues that you believe this standing committee should attend to going forward? I do not see any hands. So then, honourable members, I want to say thank you very much. Let me just check with Ms. Nikak if there's anything that she would like us to attend to before we close this meeting.
Not at this time, Chairperson.
Good, thank you very much then, honourable members. This then deals with the agenda that we have circulated. I appreciate your active participation. Thank you very much for your questions that you've put, and also for allowing me to chair this meeting. With this, I wish you all a wonderful festive season as members of this committee. Should you be in a position to travel, please use that time also to observe the farming practices, perhaps identify areas where we believe the department does well, or where we believe the department should even increase their assistance to the farming community. And I trust that you will bring that newfound knowledge back next year. The same wish that I expressed for our guests, I want to express to you as members of this committee. I think this will be the last meeting where we meet as the Committee on Environmental Affairs, Agriculture and Development Planning. So for you also, a blessed festive season. Those of you that are going to travel, please travel safe. You are all very important to not only myself, but also to the citizens of the Western Cape, and the same wishes that you might come back with renewed energy apply to you as well. So thank you very much. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
For you too,
Thank you
Chair,
very much,
and
Chair.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Chair.
you.
Thanks,
And
everyone.
for all the members.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye,
And
Chair.
other colleagues.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Chairperson. Thank you, members.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Nomfundo and Candice.
Okay, Shireen. Sure
Shaka.
thing. Sure.
No
Bye.
problem. Bye.